This is the Mooer GE300 Lite, essentially a slimmed down version, a light version of their flagship GE300 guitar amp modeling and effects processor. It's kind of nice and compact. It's got 8 onboard foot switches, a bunch of knobs, a bunch of connections on the back, and it kind of does everything that their GE200 does, but better and in a way more solid, roadworthy case. Now, if you know me, you know I love a good software editor when it comes to dialing in a modeler. So what I'm going to do in this video is, rather than run over all the features and run through factory presets, I'm just going to dial in some sounds from scratch and give you my genuine first impressions of what it's like to use this unit with the software editor. So let's do it. Let's get started. I'm playing my Les Paul straight into the GE300 Lite. It's being recorded direct into Pro Tools with no post-processing. First, let's take a quick look at the software editor, Mooer Studio. You have your signal chain down here, and if you click on any of these effects or amps or cabs, you can see the associated parameters with them as sliders. For example, I've got the Plexi model, the PLX 100 dialed up. You can see where the gain, bass, mids, treble, and all the other parameters are at. For the cab, I am using an impulse that I made of my Marshall cabinet with 25-watt greenbacks. If you've watched any of my other videos on the channel where I'm using amp modelers or load boxes or just about anything else, I love this IR and I kind of use it on 90% of the things that I do. So I've loaded it in here. It's really easy to load IRs. You just hit this little plus button. Plus, there's also a whole selection of factory IRs, and you can do things like select different mics and choose the mic position and distance, as well as blend 2 different mics. For this video, I'm just going to skip over that little detail there, but it's definitely usable, and the stock cabs I think are pretty good. But I like my cab, so let's go back to the amp and hear it where it's at on the bridge pickup. Alright, that is kind of nasty and bitey, just like a Plexi should be. Let's get into some of the other effects. Let's start with reverb. And we have a selection of different reverbs from rooms, halls, plates. I say rooms, halls, and plates. Room, hall, plate. There's some kind of special effect reverbs in here, a spring, a modulated reverb, but I'm going to go with the plate because I love plate reverb. You can adjust the pre-delay, the decay, the low and the high cut, the mix. You can set it as either a stereo or a mono reverb, and there is a standard or a high quality version, as well as the option to have reverb trails. Let's just kind of turn the mix up to about 30% and hear it where it's at. Let's use the EQ here. I like a kind of darker reverb, so I will increase the high cut. This is kind of backwards to the way I would expect it, but that's cool. You get used to that pretty quickly. And I'll put a bit of low cut in there as well. Let's hear it. I kind of like that. Maybe a little less decay on there. That's cool. All right, first test. Let's have a listen to how this cleans up with the old volume control. So it's definitely doing it. The taper is kind of not what I'm used to, but if you needed to, I would probably clean this up in a slightly different way, which I will show you in a second. All right, we have an amp, a cab, and some reverb. The next thing I want to do is add some delay, and we've got several delay types as well. Digital, analog, dynamic, real. Don't know what that is. Tape, mod, reverse, dual delay, which I'm excited about. Multi-tap, and ping pong. Let's do the dual delay. If I come over here, I can set it up to be synchronized with the tempo. That's nice. And let's do the classic quarter note on one side, dotted eighth on the other side. There is a master feedback control. I'm going to turn that down a little bit, and I will also increase the high cut. If you've seen my other videos on how I dial in delay, you know I like to basically take out a lot of the high end of my delays to let them sit a little bit easier. Let's hear this. Nice, maybe a little bit too much feedback right there, but that's kind of putting that halo around the note, which I really, really dig. Right, let's add some more gain. Let's try a straight up boost. Let's start with a fuzz. It's kind of noisy. Maybe I'll engage the noise gate, and then we can put a fuzz on. All right. That's kind of falling apart in a really glorious fashion. Let's see, do we have like a univibe or something in this effects A block? This is your kind of general effects block. There are two of them, so you can put one pre and one post. There's phases, that's nice. There is vibrato, there's rotary. Let's try the rotary emulation. That's really, really nice. I dig the rotary a lot. Let's hear something like a just straight up phaser. That's kind of cool. And then let's use some kind of boost, maybe just a straight up kind of a tube screamer. Gain on 0, output all the way up. We get this. So we've got a kind of classic Marshall rig going on there. Bit of a boost, bit of a phaser. There's not a whole lot else going on. I could add some chorus if I wanted to using effects block B. Let's do that. Let's put on like a kind of nice, ooh, maybe not chorus. Let's see if there is a D tune. There's a D tune. Happy days. Pitch 12 cents. That's kind of where I like it. Level 100. Let's just put this on and see if it gives us some width. I like the detune. As you can see, you've basically got every classic modulation effect. You've got EQs, you've got different distortions, you've got stuff like the slow gear, which is really nice for auto swells. You've got the option to stack up delays because you've got a generic delay block in here. So that's really, really cool. I like the way you've got these kind of generic effects A and effects B blocks. Then you've got a dedicated reverb, delay, and drive block in there as well. Alrighty, that's a kind of plexi sound. Let's move over to something I prepared a little earlier. Same cab. I'm going to save that preset. Let's do it. We'll go over to the deluxe model. So this is basically based around a 65 Fender Deluxe reverb. I've got a compressor, I've got a spring reverb, and I've got the amp just kind of set up for a kind of cleanish sound. Let's actually check that cab. I have a feeling this is one of the stock cabs. It's not, it's the same cab. It's the reverb which is giving us that nice kind of whooshy thing on there. If I turn the reverb, all right, let's try this. That's a spring reverb in front of the amp. Let's push the reverb right to the back and let's hear, I don't know, like the hall or something like that. And we'll kind of build up a nice big kind of ambient clean. I kind of like that these reverbs are voiced a little bit darker by default, like there's quite a bit of high cut. I mean, you can take that off if you want a really kind of pristine, bright reverb. But I kind of like it dark, and that's kind of how it comes stock. So this is a nice experience for me. Let's try the shimmer. As you can see, the shimmer gives you the normal reverb controls, but also this shimmer parameter. So we'll start with it off, and then we'll bring it in. Very, very nice. I think the kind of worship guitar crowd will dig that one. One that I really like is the fact that there is a reverse reverb in here. Again, kind of nice for ambient stuff. And there is a modulated reverb, which sounds very nice indeed. Let's put a delay on top of this. Let's go for, well, there's a multi-tap delay, which is pretty cool. I think you've got 4 separate taps in there. You can sync them to the tempo, but I'll just leave this at the stock settings and bring the mix up a little bit. And let's add a chorus. There is a tri-chorus model in here. So if you want to go full 80s clean with all of this, you can do it. I butchered that chord progression, but it sounds lovely. The compressor gives you quite a few options. At the moment, I've got this deluxe comp, but there's I'm guessing this is a studio comp, an L studio comp, possibly like an LA2A style thing. This one sounds really good. So we've had a classic rock sound, we've got a nice ambient kind of clean sound there. Let's do something a little chunkier. I'll grab my single cut and we'll move over to one of the Recto models. Okay, here's the Cali Jewel 2 at the settings I've got them. So a little bit of gain, bass and mid pulled down a bit, treble boosted a bit, and the presence boosted just a tiny bit. Alrighty, let's do this. Let's use a pre-EQ and really boost 1200 Hertz. Let's have a listen to that. I'm digging that. Let's put that directly in front of the amp. I think I can move this. Something like that. That'll do anyway. And then let's add an 808 drive in front of all of that and see how chunky this gets. That's pretty cool. In the amp block, you can have this original mode or this distinct mode, which kind of just sounds like a more mid-scooped version. That's pretty cool. Let's try another high gain amp. One of my favorites and one that I have as a Mooer micro preamp is this USA Gold. The 50B sounds pretty good at just the stock settings. That's where the party's at. I think if you like high gain, the US Gold is the way to go. I'm going to grab my Strat and let's hear a kind of edge of breakup, smooth, bluesy tone to round all of this out. Okay, at the moment, I'm on the neck pickup of my Strat. I've got a compressor, the amp, a cabinet, and a bit of plate reverb. I'm using this Koch OD. I believe that's how you pronounce the real amp because it is a German name, so I can say cock on this video, and you know, I'm doing the right thing. As you may or may have not noticed, does that even make sense? I don't know. I broke an E string on this guitar right before I did this, so I don't have a high E on there, but that kind of ticks most of the boxes. We heard kind of classic Marshall crunch. We heard a really kind of clean Fendery thing that we turned into a bit of an 80s style clean. A little bit of a bluesy thing here going on with this cock OD. By the way, the drive I'm using is this gold clon emulation. I mean, look at all the different drives. You have 31 drives. You have, how many amp models do we have? Over 100 amp models in there. And the most entertaining one, I have to say, and that we have to hear, is this one, the Shit Cow RD. Again, it's the name of the amp. I'm not doing anything wrong. That one actually sounds pretty good as well. So lots of amp models, lots of stock cabinets, as well as lots of slots to load in your own custom IRs. We didn't even hear the wah pedal on this or any of those things. You'll notice that there's not a wah little thing attached. I kind of like that. When the GE300 came out, the main complaint I had was that, you know, I don't like built-in expression pedals. And then they came out with this, which is basically the same thing without the expression pedal, without the synth engine, which I would probably never use anyway. So that is my first kind of set of noodling around on the GE300 Lite. What I would like to know, what do you want to hear out of this thing? What are the things that you would want to know about, and particularly here, before you go and buy one? Because I will do a follow-up video and a more in-depth review with some more of my thoughts about this unit. And I certainly have some thoughts about it, especially from a kind of design standpoint, but I will save those for a future video. In the meantime, let me know what you thought in the comments. Let me know what you would like to hear in upcoming videos. And of course, thank you so much for checking out the video. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time. Stay safe and be good to one another.